In today's video on Web3, we are going to be discussing DeFi, which is known as Decentralized Finance, and it is mainly the banking sector on the Web3 space. But before we understand what DeFi is, we first of all have to delve into CeFi, which is Centralized Finance, and it is its counterpart. So just as you have DeFi on the Web3 space, we have CeFi on the Web2 space, and it is mainly controlled by the banks or the governments, even though they did not explicitly come out to say it. So in fact, all of you should be used to CeFi. In Nigeria, for instance, you have your Zenith Bank, your Wema Bank, your First Bank, and a lot other banks. And basically anything you can do on your CeFi, you can do the same thing on DeFi, but in a more secure, faster, and easier way. For instance, if I want to lend money from the banks, I first of all have to go and provide them my name, my details, my house address. I have to bring collateral. In fact, they might even ask me to bring somebody that is going to stand for me as guarantor. And after all of this, they will still have to check my profile to see if I'm eligible to get loan from them. And at the end of the day, I might still end up not meeting the requirements to get a loan from them. So Web3 space on DeFi, it makes this easier. You don't have to go through all these steps. They do not even need to know your first name, not to talk of knowing your surname. You don't have to provide any special documents. All you basically have to do is to own a wallet address that you can use to collect the loan, to do whatever you want to do. And you are going to be doing it with a smart contract that is going to, to avoid scams, frauds, and that is basically a whole topic on its own. But basically anything you can do on your CeFi, you can do the same thing on DeFi. So this is a 30 days class on the whole concept of Web3. The first video, I've already talked about Web3. In my second video, we talked about blockchain technology. And this is the third video where we are now talking about DeFi. So if you haven't watched those previous videos, you can check the top of the screen here. I've pinned the video there. Or you can even check this playlist on this channel. The videos are going to be there. So at the end of the 30 days, you'll understand the whole concept of what Web3 is all about. And then you can take on your journey of making money on the Web3 space from there. DeFi, decentralized finance, refers to a set of financial services and applications that operate on blockchain technology, decentralized networks, and smart networks. And its aims is to provide an alternative to the traditional finance method that we know as CeFi by offering a more open, transparent, and accessible financial system. And there are 5 basic key components of DeFi that we have to know. The first one here is lending and borrowing. So just as you can walk into the bank to go and lend or borrow money, you can do the same thing on DeFi. And there are platforms that facilitate this. Platforms like Compound and Aave, they help you when you want to lend or when you want to borrow money on the Web3 space. But this is how it works. Instead of you to go to your bank to go and provide them a long document of yourself, your house details, and other details, when it comes to DeFi, all you basically have to do is to have a wallet address. If you want to lend money and get interest, for instance, you can now go to platforms like Compound or Aave. You put your money in there, and there is no centralized authority that is controlling this. All what is controlling this is a code known as smart contracts. It is already written. That is why in the Web3 space, we know the code as the law, because nobody can change it. Once it is written, it's written. All it basically does is to execute. So if I want to lend money, for instance, I can put my money in there. The interest is going to calculate automatically. There is no special human being or third party that is behind doing the whole interest. So at the end of the day, there's nobody that can come out and now say that, okay, I didn't invest, I didn't do this. No. Once you put in your money, everything is recorded, secure on the blockchain, and nobody can change it. So if you're investing $100 to get $120, for instance, it is going to be written there, recorded, and nothing can change it. Now, this is your money that you lend to that platform. Anybody can come and borrow. So if I'm lending my money to a platform like Aave, for instance, I lend $100 and somebody wants $100. The person can come to that platform to borrow. But here is the problem. Lending money is easy because all I basically have to do is to put in my money, my interest is going to be calculated, and at the end of the day, I come to withdraw my capital or withdraw it alongside my interest. But the borrowing part gets complicated because somebody can come, borrow money, and disappear, and nothing can be done to trace the person since they do not even have your personal details, they do not have your house address, your name, your phone number, and all of those details. So this is how it works. So if I want to borrow $100, for instance, I must first of all have $100 before I can borrow $100. But I know you'll be confused right now. If I already have $100, why do I now need to borrow $100? But this is because your brain is programmed to think on one currency, maybe the Naira or the US dollar. So this is how it works. If I want to borrow $100, for instance, 100 USDT for my business, I need to have at least 120 or $100 worth of Ethereum or Bitcoin or any other coin, but what I need is USDT. So because I believe in Ethereum that maybe in the next 6 months or in the next 1 year, Ethereum is going to go up, Because of that, I do not want to sell my Ethereum or touch it, because if I sell it, I'm going to lose the interest that I'm going to be getting when Ethereum goes up. So because of that, I will use my Ethereum as the collateral, and then I'll borrow the USDT that I need right now to do whatever I want to do. So if it is that I want to invest the USDT and get profit, I can do it, get the profit, and then come back and pay back the money. But if it's that I want to spend it, then I can take it, and then I wait. When the Ethereum goes up in the next 6 months, they will remove the money that I borrowed to them or that I lent from them, and then I can now go and withdraw my profit. And there is no single human being that is behind this. It is just a code that is already written, so you cannot cheat the system. You just have to follow and abide by it. It is the law. Now, the second key component on DeFi is stable coins. Stable coins are basically cryptocurrencies that are designed to maintain stable value relative to a fiat currency. Example, we have USDT and it represents the US dollar. So you see USDT does not fluctuate, it does not go up and down. Nigeria, for instance, if Nigeria wants to have its own representative in crypto, they will have NGN. But currently, we do not have anything like that yet. So a lot of countries have, we have USDT, we have USDC, and a lot others that are stable. They do not fluctuate. This is to protect the value of your coins. This is how this is beneficial. Let's say, for instance, I have $100 worth of Ethereum that I have been holding. And in the next 6 months, my $100 worth of Ethereum appreciated to $150, and I want to withdraw it with my profit. I'll convert that my Ethereum that is $150 to USDC or USDT, which will maintain its value. So if in the following month Ethereum now depreciated, my asset is going to be secured, because assuming I left my money in that Ethereum, which is a volatile coin, if Ethereum depreciated, my $150 might still later on returns to $130 or $100 or even less. But since I've swapped it to USDT, the value is going to be maintained, and when Ethereum comes down again, I can still take down my USDT and purchase, but this time around I am now getting more Ethereum. So it just basically retains or maintains the value of your assets. So the third one here is your DEX, known as Decentralized Exchanges. I would love to, because I'm in Nigeria, and I would love to relate this to Bureau de Change, for instance. If you have dollar today, let's say for instance you travel to the US, you get dollar, and then you return back to Nigeria and you want to convert this your dollar to Naira, you have to go to Bureau de Change, or you go to these abokis them. They have it in all states all over Nigeria. You go to them to now swap to Naira. But while you are swapping, they are going to charge you a specific amount of fee. Even if you go to Bureau de Change, they are taking some certain percentage as their fee. So when you swap to dollar, you now hold your money. Or let's say, for instance, I want to send money to somebody in the US and I have Naira. I want to send money. I have to first of all go to these centralized exchanges to convert my Naira. And on the point of converting, they are going to be taking some amount of fee. So I'll convert Naira into USD. After converting it to USD and they've taken their fee, I'll now have to send it to the person. On the process of sending, they are also collecting some amount of fees again. So DEX now makes this easy. I don't have to leave the comfort of my home. In fact, the whole process does not have to take me more than 5 minutes. All I basically have to do is to have my USDT, and then I go to a decentralized exchanges like Uniswap, which is the most popular. We have PancakeSwap and a lot out there, and they offer various tokens. So all I basically have to do is to go to these exchanges, and then I swap. And the fee they are going to be taking, known as gas fee, is little compared to what your centralized banks or your centralized exchanges is going to be charging you. And provided I am not even leaving the comfort of my home to go to these places to go and do it, all I basically have to do is to do it. And I'm not filling any special documents. I remember when I first went to the bank to withdraw dollar, I have to fill this document here, and they have to give them my password. I have to wait, I have to stand queue and the likes. But this time around, you can lie down on your bed from the comfort of your home, do your swapping, and after you swap from USD to the other currency, you can now send it to the person that is abroad. You don't have to fill any special documents or to pay any special fees. While the last one here, which is number 4, is known as yield farming. Yield farming refers to the strategies that are used to maximize returns on DeFi investments. And this involves lending, borrowing, or providing liquidity to earn interest or rewards, just like Yen.Finance and Harvest.Finance offers yield farming strategies. So this one now is a whole topic on its own that I won't want to really dive into. But if you followed from the beginning of this video, you should understand this already. This one just covers the whole process of lending, borrowing, providing liquidity, getting interest, and the likes on the Web3 space. That is basically the basics to what DeFi is. After getting all these information, I am sure you should really be interested in DeFi. So first of all, I don't even really think we still have to dive into the importance of DeFi. After checking all of this, you should know the importance already. But for educational purpose, let us still dive into the importance of DeFi. The first importance here is accessibility. So basically, anyone with a smartphone and an internet connection can access DeFi. You can do transactions and activities on it. Unlike the traditional method of, first of all, you have to be 18 years old. So if you're underage, you cannot do it. But on DeFi, they don't need your age. So you have to be 18 years old. You have to have a government ID. You have to have this, have that, have this, have that before you be able to register for a bank. But when it comes to DeFi, it is easily accessible. Anyone at all with an internet connection and a smartphone can do activities on DeFi. The second one here is transparency. DeFi transactions are recorded on the public ledger, ensuring transparency. And this is the whole idea of blockchain, for instance. Like I will tell you in the other video, when a transaction is recorded on the ledger, it is recorded, it is immutable. Nobody can do any alterations to anything that is recorded. And the fact that it is even readily and easily available to anybody that wants to view the documents at any given time. So it is not like when you are holding a book and then they do some record and then somebody can sneak at the back later to go and change some information in the book, or the book can get stolen, burnt, or whatsoever. In this space, nothing like that. Absolutely everyone have access to the information at once, and no single person can come and change any information or do any alterations. So it is highly transparent. Third importance here is security. It is very secure, in fact, almost unhackable. We have heard a lot of stories of your banks being hacked. Yes, banks being hacked. Even centralized exchanges like Bybit was hacked, I think somewhere around last month or 2 months before. Binance can be hacked. They are all centralized exchanges. Your normal banking system can be hacked. But when you talk about DeFi in this space, it is almost unhackable because it runs on a smart contract on code known as the law. And once that code is put into execution, nothing can alter it. In fact, before it can be altered, the amount of power you have to gather a lot of, let's just say it is almost impossible to alter. And the fourth one here is potential for high returns. And as this, DeFi offers high returns. If you are investing money on your DeFi, you are going to be earning high compared to what you'll be getting in the banks. It's not like the banking where, in fact, at the end of the day, when you invest your money in the banks and all of that, before you withdraw, the amount of fees they are going to be charging you when you want to invest, plus the amount of fee they'll be charging you when you want to withdraw, plus fees here. On DeFi, nothing like that. So they eliminated those fees and cut it very low. And as such, it provides high returns. Although it goes deeper than this, but let us still stick with the surface level understanding of this. And that is basically all there is to it on the importance of DeFi. There are a lot of applications on DeFi, and these applications are known as D-apps. In my next video, I might probably be talking about decentralized apps on DeFi. So we won't want to be diving much into that in this video, so as not to make the video too long. But if you want to continue with us on this 30 days journey, make sure you are subscribed to this channel. Turn on the bell icon so you get notifications whenever I upload a new video. And you should even join my Telegram channel so that immediately I'm dropping the link, you will be getting first-hand access to these videos. And let me know what you think. Do you have any addition or subtraction? I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comment section of this video.